Kevin, what is up, man? I'm excited for another podcast today.
So this is what we found. The key to not having a bad hot mic moment is just to kind of say dumb stuff all the time.
Yep. And then you don't
and then no one even notices.
Yeah, but today
not inappropriate stuff. I'm not saying inappropriate stuff. I'm just saying if you're just kind of always operating at a level of intelligence below society's norms, then no one knows when you were caught on a hot mic. They just think it's you. Welcome to Leading Hope.
Welcome. You're listening to the Leading Hope podcast. My name is VJ Williams, joined by my friend and pastor, Kevin Jack. Thank you for joining us, taking time out of your day to become a better leader. If you're new to the podcast, we release a new episode every Wednesday. If you hit the subscribe button, you'll catch that on YouTube and Facebook live, or you can catch it on the next day and the podcast on Thursdays, whatever platform you're watching us. Share. Man, we'd love to see you guys share this with your friends. Also, rate and review on Apple Podcasts. A few extra minutes will absolutely help get this podcast in the hands of so many more leaders like you. And visit leadinghope.online to get updates and find out more about the Leading Hope community. Today, Kevin, episode 86. 86. Title is, I like this, Pass the Marker.
If I was more intentional, I would have had a marker here ready to go, and we would have gone back and forth.
Well, is it actually a literal pass the marker? I'm sure you're going to tell us.
So we do this practice within our team, and I didn't realize how standardized of a practice it was until when I was doing it, people knew exactly what to do. So I think visually, it's just I kind of mind map stuff out. It's the easiest way for me to organize thoughts. And so when we get together with our team and we're planning, whether it's initiatives or ideas or projects, we have marker boards everywhere. Like we have several rooms that are literally just marker boards.
It's true.
Yeah, with all the thoughts in it. Gets a little chaotic at times. And so one of the things that I started doing is realize that, hey, there's some meetings that I don't need to lead certain parts. And the people on our team were used to our practices and used to the rhythms, and we're really clear on, hey, this section needs to have this outcome. And so what I just started doing is I'd be up there with the marker, and when I felt like someone else was best suited to lead that section, I'd just walk over to them, and I'd hand them the marker. And it was amazing because I didn't even say anything. I just handed them the marker, and every single time that person just jumped up and started leading the meeting.
Yeah.
Better than I could have led it in that moment because of their skill set, because of their perspective. And it was just this like really, really simple leadership practice that had a massive impact to me and to what I saw in our culture. So I want to unpack that idea a little bit, okay? Just a real simple action. Pass the marker.
Yeah.
It was, all right, I sat down, you stood up. It's your meeting. You run it. You know where it needs to head. And so here's the big idea that I want us to get into today. That leadership development is an action, not a system, not just a value, not just about being that it is specifically an action. It is an action. Now, you have to have the value to have the action, but we talk about leadership development. It kind of lives in these two key camps of leadership development is about equipping and empowering. It's about giving someone the skills and tools that they need, be that casting vision, communication, leading meetings, project management, all those other things. It is equipping them by giving them the skills and abilities that they need. And then, this is the important piece, empowering them to actually go do it.
Yeah.
And I think what happens on this second part of empowering is this is where leadership development is an action. They have to actually go do it. And no one would ever if you said, hey, I'm going to go, man, I grew up going to basketball camp every summer. And it there was times of instruction and then you went and did the drill.
Yeah.
And then you went and played the game. You go, could you imagine if there was a basketball camp and oh man, if now I'm sending my kids and if I picked them up and how was it? It was fine. They just taught us the whole time. You're not sweaty. You're not tired at all. No, we didn't play.
Yeah.
They just instructed us the entire time about what we're supposed to do. I'd be like, well, you're not going back because that was worthless.
Yeah.
There is this piece in which you have to actually go do it so you can put those skills into practice. That is where the actual development comes from. And this is my kind of belief and at times my frustration is that we are 95% equip and 5% empower. Then it comes to education, as it comes to universities, as it comes to even program and development training within whatever your organization is. We are far heavier on the equipping side. Now, this may not be true of you, your context. It may be something incredibly unique, but I still want to just hammer home this idea that leadership development is an action. And one of the biggest things I've learned, and then V, I'm going to open it up to you, and we've got some other thoughts on here. One of the biggest things that I have learned over the last year and a half, 2 years, is I have these two distinct roles in my job. One of them is as a pastor, and one of them is as a leader. And they're intermixed. I'm never really going, oh, now I'm a pastor. Oh, now I'm a leader. Because my job at the end of the day is to do what's best for people in our role, to lead them into faith in a relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
And so, but this is kind of one of the key things that I've been able to be aware of, is that pastoring is about knowing when to be present.
Yeah.
It's about knowing what rooms to be in, what times to be making calls and texts, when to be with people in a moment of crisis, be it funeral, wedding, celebration, any of those things. Pastoring is about knowing when to be present. Leadership is about knowing when to be absent. Not just present, but it's about knowing when to be absent, because you can't empower someone else to lead if you never leave the room.
Yeah.
It is only when you actually walk away that someone else has the opportunity to truly step into that leadership.
That's
and
good.
so I believe that to the furthest extent, but as an initial point, I believe that you need specific, simple actions that empower others to lead. You need low stakes way of handing off leadership to someone else that they can actually do it. For us in our organization, one of those key ones is pass the marker.
Yeah.
It's simply, hey, it's your meeting. Knock yourself out.
And it's extremely effective. At first you think, well, it's just, it's a 10-minute segment on a whiteboard for a specific task.
Yeah.
But in that moment, it's also a peer recognition that, hey, maybe these people have some things to speak into a situation I never thought they could.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. One of the things I think you do really well is knowing who to pass the marker to. And I think that's a leadership skill that is, I think you learn how to do that. It's active, being actively aware of who is ready to move into that next. I think you definitely can acquire that over time, but you have to work on that muscle.
Yeah.
Right. Because to be able to pass the marker, you don't want to just pass it to any, because you're still the leader in the moment, right? But you're passing, you can't just hand it off just because you want to see if someone's going to, let's test them out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now there is times for that, but depending on the task, you really need to be aware of who you're passing the marker to so they can be empowered.
So that's always the two things that I'm looking at for that specific practice is there's times I know that I'm not seeing something as clear as someone else will, and I can tap into a specific skill set of a member of our team, and that is the majority of time. The other time is I go, I don't know if, for some of you, this is going to be hard to remember. For some of you, you haven't even done it yet. But, the first time that you led a meeting,
Yep.
it's hilarious because I had sat in meetings for years. I've been a part of stuff. And then all of a sudden, I'm the one leading the meeting. It was like, oh my goodness, I so over-prepped that thing.
Yeah.
I thought through all the different things I needed to say at different moments because it was like, oh my goodness, I got to lead this meeting? No one ever taught me how to lead a meeting.
Yeah.
How is it possible that I had sat in meetings for years and no one ever taught me this is the way to lead an effective meeting? And so I look at our team and I go, there's people who've never led a meeting before. I would much rather they get their practice with our team than with people who the stakes of that meeting is far more critical.
Yeah.
I'd much rather they be able to go with good leaders who can give them feedback, who will make it easy on them, than for them to cut their lead a meeting teeth.
Which is in the context of what we do is one thing, but for people listening today, anyone who leads, you own a product, you have a marketing team, you're in sales, let them practice on you first. Like pass the marker to them in that room, because if they do that over time in those rooms, they will be absolute A+ stars for your team in the future.
Yep. Oh, that's so dead on.
It's a big deal, man, to let them. But you have to be willing to give up that authority for that moment. Even, we have the best idea wins is a big deal for us. And actually, let me change thoughts here real quick. So what's the difference? This is a question. What's the difference between give away the keys and pass the marker?
Oh, that's great, because we use the give away the keys phrase all the time.
And I think you would be best suited to answer that kind of a question, because I think people might have.
We really need to. That makes me think we really need to work past the marker into our culture.
Ooh, yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
So give away the keys for us is a sense of. Give away the keys is our phrase that says we're giving you authority, not just responsibility.
Yeah.
You have freedom to make decisions. You're not just held accountable for results. You get to change what makes those results happen. Yes. So you just say, hey, we're not letting you borrow the car. We're giving away the keys. Go for it. Drive it the direction you need to go. Pass the marker is far more, for a small period of time, I'm going to allow you to test what it feels like to have authority.
Oh, this is good.
Guided, like low stakes.
Yep.
It's there. It's an initial entry point. I'm not. So here's one of the things I had, like, hey, further ideas to go. Leave. Oh, ready. This is mine. Some of you, I don't want to cause parent uproar. Okay, age of your kids. I'm going to give you ages of my kid. Well, some of you may know.
People just got a little closer to the device they're listening on right now. What's he going to say?
Leave your children for a period of time.
Woo-hoo.
That's past the marker for my kids.
Yeah.
Leave them at home for a period of time.
Yeah.
Give away the keys is we leave for a week and leave them at home.
Yeah.
I am not leaving my 10-year-old at home for a week.
Yeah.
So I will pass the marker, not give away the keys.
That's great. I think pass the marker is such a it seems like a simple step into the give away the keys.
Yeah.
That we don't do.
So we'd say, like, let's say, here, let me get it on the shot. Oh, there we go, all the way. There we go. Into your, there we go. Is say, like, hey, what if we have this, like, spectrum of ownership authority that we give people?
Yeah.
How often we live at the extremes.
Yeah.
And we either give someone no authority or all the authority.
Yeah.
And you go, well, what if you could taper into that?
Yeah.
What if, like, because I'll see this, people do this with their staff, with their team members, and they'll just give them complete autonomy and never check in and never guide goals and never give them development. And then they're frustrated with the results. And it's like, well, why did they earn complete autonomy from day one?
Yeah.
Could you step them somewhere on the process?
Yeah.
And eventually work them to there?
And I think that's so important as we talk about leading teams well, is that, we can't give away the keys to the race car if you've never driven the go-kart.
Yes, that's exactly right.
That's not gonna work out well for you, and it's certainly not gonna help them, because they're gonna wreck the car, and they're not gonna be happy because they're gonna be hurt.
And this is where I struggle. I'll talk about this for me as a parent, is when I pass the marker to my kids, when I give them authority and autonomy, and they and it doesn't work well, they handle it poorly. Yeah. I want to make declarations that I'm taking the marker away forever.
Yeah.
It's like, we leave home and the kids get in a fight, and I'll come out. This is the last time we will ever leave you at home by yourselves. You're stuck with us for the rest of your lives, which the ultimate outcome is they live in our basement, which is not a future that I desire.
That's awesome. We got about we've got about 5 minutes left. I want to break down this thought that you had, which I think people probably you need to explain a little more, because I think it's so powerful. That you said that pastoring is about being present, leadership is about being absent.
Yeah.
Talk about that for the next few minutes about why that's so important.
Yeah. So here's the my ultimate desire is that for us as a church, for you it may be an organization, that it runs as well without me as it does with me. I want to say better, but I always know the need for leadership, and that's not specific to me and my skill set, but to go,
yes,
every group, every organization, it needs leadership. But that's my desire, that it can run as well as it possibly can without me as it does with me. And there's even things in our office and in our team and our culture that they run better without me there.
Yeah.
That's just the reality. I have lots of ideas. I have lots of activity. Not everyone can stay focused like I do. I say that in a positive way, but there's a lot of ways to view that in a negative way.
Right.
So I know you can interpret on that. And so for me, it actually happened during COVID. It was the realization of to go, hey, there's some meetings that they're going a lot better when I'm not there. There's some of these things, they're going a lot better. And it's not just that the thing itself was going better, but it's that leaders were developing. They were able to stretch. They were able to expand their thinking. Instead of looking to me for approval, they were creating their own sense of significance. And I say that in a really healthy and good way. Is to go, if you want to care for people well, you need to be present. Caring for people never happens in your absence. But if you want to develop people, you need to be absent.
Yeah.
You need to figure out not just when to be gone, but when to be strategically absent to allow others to step into their own leadership, that you're not always hovering over them. We talk about helicopter parents. We have helicopter leaders.
Yep.
We have leaders that their teams can't develop because they won't get out of the stinking room.
Yeah. And I think that's such a powerful point, is to know when to be in and when to get out.
Yeah, and so this is one of the notes. Yeah. One of the notes I put for myself is I said, I don't need to do what I can do. I need to do what only I can do based upon position and skill set.
Yeah.
Just because I can complete the task. Like, if there's a meeting, everyone assumes I'm leading the meeting because I'm there and I'm the leader. Well, why would I do that? Just because I can.
Yep.
I need to do the things that only I can do based upon position and skill set, and allow others to do those other things so they can develop themselves.
So good. Need to start passing the marker.
Pass the
today.
marker.
Episode 86. Pass the marker. Wrap it up for us, Kevin.
Leadership development is an action, not just a value or a system. It is an action. So what is the action that you're taking? We've given you the idea in the language of pass the marker versus hand away or give away the keys. So what is the action that you can take? What does that look like to develop leaders in your own leadership?
All right, man. Thanks so much for joining us today. I am heading to the store and getting a box of markers. What an incredible day. If this is your first time joining us, we'd hope that you subscribe to this. It'd mean the world to us if you did. Also post about it, rate and review. He is leaving, and it's so good for you to be on with us every week. Review how it helps get this podcast in the hands of so many more leaders like you. We love hearing your stories of how the podcast is working in your life and business. If you have a story, visit leadinghope.online and send that to us. We would love to hear from you. And remember, everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.